The musty aroma of old photographs filled her senses as she sifted through the box. At the very bottom, a picture, face down, sent a chill down her spine. Hesitantly, she flipped it over, revealing a photo of herself, sound asleep in her bed, a figure she'd never seen before lurking in the shadows of her room. Her blood ran cold. She lived alone.
The found photograph revealed a haunting truth, one that she could never unsee.
A piercing scream cut through the night, jolting him awake. The sound was so sharp, so sudden, it felt like a knife slicing through the silence. He sat up in bed, his mind racing to comprehend what he had just heard. His heart pounded in his chest, his breath caught in his throat, as another scream echoed through the darkness, closer this time, followed by frantic pounding on his bedroom door. The noise was relentless, each thud sending a jolt of fear through his body. He could feel the vibrations of the pounding reverberate through the floorboards, making the terror all the more real. He wanted to scream, to run, to do anything, but his body was frozen, his muscles refusing to respond. It was as if he was trapped in a nightmare, his mind willing him to move, but his body betraying him. The paralysis was suffocating, a heavy weight pressing down on him, making it impossible to act. The screams grew louder, the pounding more insistent, and he realized with growing horror that he couldn't even close his eyes. His eyelids felt like they were glued open, forcing him to witness every terrifying moment. The darkness seemed to close in around him, the shadows dancing menacingly on the walls.
Trapped in terror, he faced the nightmarish reality that escape was impossible. The room felt like a prison, the walls closing in, the air thick with fear. He could hear his own heartbeat, loud and frantic, a constant reminder of his helplessness. The night stretched on, each second feeling like an eternity as he lay there paralyzed by fear, unable to escape the horrors that surrounded him.
Her gaze swept across the towering facade of the apartment building, each window a dark, lifeless eye staring back at her. The building loomed ominously against the night sky, its presence almost suffocating. She felt a chill run down her spine as she took in the eerie silence that surrounded the structure, a silence that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. But on the 14th floor, a flicker of movement caught her eye. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but enough to draw her attention. She squinted, trying to make out what it was, her heart beginning to race with a mix of curiosity and dread. A face, pale and gaunt, with eyes that seemed to burn with an unnatural intensity, stared down at her from the window. The eyes were like two dark voids, pulling her in, making it impossible to look away. She felt as if the face was not just looking at her, but into her, seeing her deepest fears and secrets. Her breath hitched in her throat as the face broke into a grotesque grin, its teeth bared in a mockery of a smile, and then vanished as quickly as it had appeared. She stumbled back, her mind reeling from what she had just witnessed. Was it real, or just a figment of her imagination? The question echoed in her mind, but the terror she felt was all too real.
The figure in the window left an indelible mark on her soul, a reminder of the inexplicable horrors that lurk in the shadows. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that face, that grin, and felt the same paralyzing fear. It was a haunting memory that would stay with her, a constant reminder that some mysteries are better left unsolved and some windows are better left unlooked through.
John adjusted his prosthetic leg, a phantom itch prickling at the skin beneath. He scratched it absent-mindedly, a sigh escaping his lips as the sensation remained. Suddenly, icy fingers wrapped around his missing limb, sending a shock of terror through him. He was alone, the room empty, but the feeling of those ghostly fingers lingered, a chilling reminder of what he had lost.
The phantom touch was a cruel reminder of the unseen forces that haunt us, even in our most vulnerable moments. Section 5. The Mirror Message.
The bathroom mirror steamed over from the hot shower, distorting her reflection into an unsettling blur. As she reached out to wipe away the condensation, a single sentence materialized in the fog, its letters scrawled in a shaky hand. "I can see you."
Her heart skipped a beat, a shiver crawling down her spine as she realized she was not alone in the room. Section 6. The Face in the Cellar.
The grainy footage from the cellar security camera flickered on the monitor, the musty darkness below illuminated by the single flickering bulb. He scanned the room, his gaze sweeping over the dusty shelves and cobweb-draped tools, before settling on a face, pale and gaunt, peeking out from behind a stack of crates.
He leaned closer, heart pounding in his chest. But the face was gone, leaving him with a growing sense of unease that gnawed at the edges of his mind. Section 7. The Hallucination.
The world had become a desolate wasteland. Cities lay in ruins, overrun by the infected, their hollow eyes reflecting the emptiness within. The once bustling streets were now silent, save for the occasional distant wail of a lost soul. Buildings that once stood tall and proud were now mere skeletons of their former selves, crumbling under the weight of despair. He had been wandering for weeks, surviving on scraps, clinging to the hope of finding other survivors. Each day was a battle against the elements and the ever-present threat of the infected. His body was weary, his spirit nearly broken, but the glimmer of hope kept him moving forward. He scavenged through the debris, always on the lookout for signs of life, for a flicker of humanity in the overwhelming darkness. Then, one day he spotted her, a young woman with fiery red hair, her hand outstretched toward him, a beacon of hope in the desolate landscape. Her presence was like a ray of sunshine piercing through the thick clouds of despair. She stood out vividly against the gray backdrop, her eyes filled with warmth and compassion. He felt an inexplicable connection, a sense of familiarity, as if she was the answer to his silent prayers.
But as he reached out to take her hand, his fingers passed right through hers, and he realized with a sickening feeling that she was nothing more than a figment of his shattered mind. The illusion shattered, leaving him standing alone once more, the weight of his solitude pressing down on him. The realization was a cruel reminder of the fragility of hope in a world gone mad. He stood there, staring at the empty space where she had been, grappling with the haunting reality that his mind was playing tricks on him, and that the line between reality and hallucination was becoming increasingly blurred. Section 8. Never close your eyes. It's amazing what people leave behind, the secrets they keep hidden in the dark corners of their homes, the man whispered, his voice raspy, his eyes gleaming with an unsettling light. But the real secret, he continued, leaning closer, his breath hot on my skin, is to never, ever close your eyes for too long at night, for that's when they come for you. His words echoed in the darkness, a chilling reminder that the monsters we fear are not always the ones we can see.